Hi, my name is Gerrid Smith, and I want to help you grow your law firm. Today, I want to talk about blogging. Blogging has become very important over the last couple of years, but most of the time when people talk about blogging, they don't really understand how to make it work for the legal industry. So, in the rest of the internet world, aside of the legal industry, people talk about blogging because it attracts users and because it attracts links, essentially. It attracts other blogs that want to link to your blog. The truth of the matter is, though, that's not really how it works in the legal industry. You could write wonderful, really long posts all day long about all sorts of interesting things, but that doesn't necessarily mean that your competitors or other law firms across the country are just going to link to your site. It happens on occasion, I understand, yes. Though I would say that's not the reason that you're really going to want to blog, because the truth of the matter is, if that was your goal, you'd have to spend a ton of time promoting your own posts if you wanted them to be successful. So let me explain to you why I believe blogging is successful in the legal industry. Number one of the things that Google's going to look at when they go to your site is how often is this website updated? Certainly your own users are going to look at that as well. If they look at your content and it looks like, hey, wow, look at their blog, it hasn't been updated in 3 years. Like, that doesn't exactly portray a professional image for your firm. So for Google and for your users, you have to stay up to date. You have to show Google, hey, we're looking to be an authority. We're looking to be a thought leader. And the only way to do that is to update your blog. The other reason is, if you do work with a good SEO company, one of the things they may want to do is promote your blog posts for you. So if you were to put together, and actually I wouldn't even suggest you put this together, I would suggest having your internet marketing company create this piece. But let's just say they put together what we in the industry called a piece of link bait. In other words, you're creating an article where the only goal of the article is to get other websites to link to it so that your website authority, your domain authority can increase. So what we would do in that case is we would go out, and let's just say that you're a birth injury lawyer. We would go out, maybe we'd find, we'd scour the internet for 5 or 10 articles that had, let's just say, birth injury statistics or something. We compiled them all together and we'd say, hey, now we have the ultimate guide to birth injury statistics. And there's quite a few birth injury websites on there, cerebral palsy websites, that may want to link to something like that. And so you may be able to get 5 or 10 really high quality links from that type of content. So ultimately, there's, again, 2 really very important reasons why every attorney needs to be blogging. Number 1, to keep their site fresh, both for Google, for the users. It looks horrible when you go to a blog and it hasn't been updated in some time. Number 2, it's going to give your internet marketing company an opportunity to gain great links for your site. Now, obviously one of the things you're wondering is, how often should I be blogging? Whenever an attorney asks me that, I first of all say, I wouldn't recommend that you blog. Most of my clients have very high hourly rates. That's expected, it's understandable. I'm not looking for you to say, let's just say your hourly rate's $250 an hour. I'm not looking for you to spend, realistically, an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours, which should be $500 writing a blog post, when that blog post is not going to be read by a lot of people. The goal of that post isn't necessarily to be read by all of your consumers, though some consumers will be reading it. It's just not worth it when you consider your hourly rate versus what we would charge or what another company would charge to write a high quality blog post. And we have attorneys that we use as writers. So if there's a complicated topic that you wanted something written on, we could do that. I'm sure most of our competitors do that as well. And when you consider, hey, what it would cost to have us write it versus doing it yourself, the numbers in most cases don't make sense. So unless there's something that only you could write, and that piece of information would realistically garner quite a few links, I'm not going to suggest that you write about it. Now, the other side of this is, how often should you blog? I would say at a minimum once per week. At a minimum. Everybody online really needs to start blogging a minimum once per week. It tells Google, hey, we're staying up to date on things. It tells your users, hey, we're keeping our content going. We're providing great content for you on a regular basis. You can come back. And ultimately, that's what it's going to take to move your site forward. Most of our clients are probably blogging, maybe 2 times per week, which is great. It just depends on what you can afford. I would suggest, if you can afford it, hey, 2, 3 plus blog posts a week, awesome, do it. But if you can only afford the minimum, then you need to be blogging at least once per week. So those are a couple thoughts that I have on blogging. Thanks for watching.